I need you in order to be brave. Yes, I need you to show bravery yourself, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. What I'm talking about is I need you in order for me to be able to find courage. If you read my newsletter column this week, you'll know I did not want to go to Washington, D.C. yesterday. I did not feel like it. I had been running ragged. I'm tired. There's too much on my plate. I should have said no to some more things in my own life and church life and stuff before January happened, but I didn't. So I'm committed to a bunch of things, and they're all piling up. Not to mention the fact that I actually bought a new shirt, a new pair of pants before I went to Washington because I just didn't have time to do laundry and ironing before Sunday morning. And that's where I was at, right? I did not want to go. There was something just pulling at me saying, I don't want to go. And I think part of it was fatigue. You know, I've had lots of conversations with family and friends, but also with lots of you and other people in the community who have called, who have messaged, who needed somewhere to put all the emotion and processing of our bizarre turn of events with our recent election. And I'm used to marching and protesting. I believe I've been marching and protesting basically every decade of my life. I remember going with my dad on marches in the 70s. I remember rallies against apartheid and human rights rallies in the 80s. I remember protesting wars of various kinds in various places through various administrations in our own country. I was at Occupy Fort Worth and Occupy Dallas and Occupy Port of Houston. I show up. I tend to be a person who shows up. I didn't want to show up this weekend. I felt like I just didn't have it in me. And I think part of that is due to my own feeling down and depressed and discouraged about turns of events, even though I know the only way those things get better is for me to get engaged. It just felt emotionally overburdensome. So when those of you who have messaged or talked to me have messaged and talked to me, I get it. I'm right there with you. And it's one of the reasons I didn't want to go. And I've been fighting with myself. Stacy, thank you for saying that. It's exactly where I was leading up to the march. I really felt that, like, I should go. I really don't feel like going. I should go. I really don't feel like going. And I had to talk myself into it. I had to take a leap. And I had to have faith in that leap. When I talk about faith, I mean deep spiritual religious faith, which means I'm going to trust in the realities I know and have experienced, that when I take this leap, I take this leap and have the courage to step, I'm going to be okay and land on the other side. Right? Once again, it was in that place where I'm trusting that when I take that step out, just like Indiana Jones, right? The bridge, build bridges, not walls, is going to appear under my feet, right? And so I trusted it, and I showed up anyway. On the way, I got a text message from our president, Mary Helen Hibben. Good luck. Be safe in D.C. and behave like a devout you. I need you in order for me to be brave. And over the weekend, and since I got back, I received more messages and emails and social media comments from some of you, and it kept me going. When the strength in me tends to fade, I need you. I need the people around me to trust in, to help me trust in the courage I need to find in myself. I was feeling weak and anxious and not up to the task whatsoever, but you held me up. You reminded me who I was. You took my hand. You gave me a little nudge and encouraged me to leap one more time. And I knew I was in the right place when I got to the buses in Taunton and we were getting ready to depart. Literally, a little old black woman walks up to me and says, "Can you help me? I've got stuff in the car I have to load in the bus." "Sure, I'll help you." bags of the half cans of soda, right? Super heavy bags of these half cans of diet ginger ale and diet cola and stuff. And I just carried cases of water into the bus, right? So cases of these things I get on the bus. She has brown shopping bags full of Oreos and peanut butter crackers and all kinds of other things I should not be eating, but I took one anyway as I loaded them and got those on the bus. And then as the bus is really finally getting ready to depart, she's one of the last people to get on the bus. And there's a crowd, there's a little crowd of people with her, of all ages, from very, very small children to people nearly her age. All women, 4 generations of women in her family. They tell me her name's Eula. She's 82. She marched with Dr. King twice. She attended anniversary marches in D.C. for the I Have a Dream speech. They just went on and listed it all. She's been marching for a long time. And if Eula Knowles can still show up at 82, I had no excuse not to leap and get on the bus. It reminded me why I was there. And all of a sudden, a lot of the anxiety and the way I've been feeling down went away. Because sometimes you show up to do what is right, and there's a real, live angel there greeting you when you show up. And Eula got out and she marched the whole thing. And she got back. And someone asked her if she was tired. And she says, "Yup, but not weary." It takes a village. We are stronger together. I need you to be brave. I cannot be brave by myself as a leader without you being brave. You know, leadership is overrated. There's a great concept I love in leadership called the first followers. It says that the way we create movements and the way we take action is not some leader like Martin Luther King or somebody gets us to do something. It's the people who begin to follow first. Because the first followers who follow the leader, those are the people that actually encourage everyone else to follow. It wasn't the people who called for the marches that got me to show up. It was you talking to me. It was my friend, one of the ministers down Taunton, calling me up and said, "We need you on this bus." The people who are the first followers make it safe for others to follow. And that's how you build a movement. And we all need each other to find that courage. Taking action in the world, fighting injustice requires courage. And we are not only stronger together, we are braver together. We need each other to do this work, but we also need each other to do the soul work, the spiritual work that comes first, so that we have the trust, the faith to take the leap into action. So showing up for the protest takes courage, but so does just showing up for the meditation cushion, or the daily walk, or the journal, or the yoga class, or the rosary beads. Whatever your practice is, whoever you are. That initial act of showing up every day to the sacred in you, connecting with the sacred in the world, is an act of bravery we have to practice on a regular basis. It's why it's called practice, right? We keep showing up for it, continuing to do it over and over again. When I began my meditation practice, I had a really difficult time sitting down, shutting up, and being quiet and breathing. Because when you do that, I'm like, I'm no different than anybody else. All the stuff inside you rises to the top. All that chatter, all that self-doubt, all the things you don't want to think about. Those are the things that come up first, not this pleasant state of nirvana. You have to get through all of those before you can sit and have that start to be that kind of relaxed. And so when I started meditating, the thing that kept me going long enough so that I could really develop it as a practice I could do myself was the Sangha. I sat with a meditation group at First Unitarian in Worcester every Monday night for a couple of years. And just showing up and putting my faith, they call it taking refuge in the Sangha, in the Dharma, in the Buddha. That's what gets you to show up and keep going. To connect what you have in your heart to the tradition that sought out that heart stuff all these many years of our human journey. I need worship on Sunday, but I also need worship myself because that helps me find the courage to do my own inner work. So I'm always finding a place to attend myself in addition to being here on Sunday. And some of these places have helped me a great deal in my journey. They've enabled me to be brave in my own inner work. Hope Central is a Christian church in Jamaica Plain where, believe it or not, a lot of union ministers attend on Sunday night. There's a group called Zateo in Houston at Rice University that I attended when I was in that area. All these places were a spiritual home, a place that gave me the courage to step out onto the bridge, to step into my heart, to do the self-exploration that lands me in a place where I develop the values that I take action in the world. Spirituality is not an individual sport. It takes a community to help you learn to have trust, faith in your spiritual practice, to have the trust in yourself so that you can trust the values that spiritual practice develops in you. So when you are faced with a call or a decision to leap, you have the trust or the faith to take the step or the jump. I believe it is easier to change our thinking by changing our behavior than it is to change the way we look at things just by the way we think about them. Acting requires you to see things, to contemplate things, to reflect on things in a different way than just thinking about it. So the practice of our own heart work is required before we can put into practice any work in the world. When you sign up for your inner journey, there's no thinking it through ahead of time so you get all figured out just right now. Okay, I've figured out how I'm going to do this meditation and now I'll try it. You can't do it that way. It's just like learning to swim. There's no learning to swim without jumping in the water and getting wet. That's why they call it practice. Because I remember when I learned to swim, that first leap of faith into the water was pretty much a leap of blind terror, thinking I was going to drown, right? Probably like most people have when they were little and hit that water and that swimming lesson for the first time. I started playing guitar when I was 10 years old. It was 8 years after that I played with a group for the first time. You know, I had my first rock band, right? I resisted it because I didn't want anybody to know how well, or actually how badly I played. So I put that off and put that off. And finally my guitar teacher, a great guy named Glenn, who I'm still in touch with, said to me, "Look, Tony, I can't help you anymore if you won't go play with other musicians. You're just going to be stuck." All right. So I trusted that what he said was true, had faith, and from that took the leap. That faith of leaping helped me to finally start really getting better at playing the guitar and being less afraid to do so in public and with other people. I'm not Jimi Hendrix or Bruce Springsteen, sad to say, but I'm not afraid any longer of taking my guitar out in public and even opening my mouth when I play it and singing along a little bit. But I would not have gotten to that point without the community of those other musicians who were brave enough to do the same thing and include me in the group. When we go on our spiritual journey together, the spiritual practices we develop, we need each other to reinforce our journey. Yes, you're on a good journey. Yes, keep going. Tell me about your journey. What's that spiritual place like for you? How do you access it? What's your language? What's your frame? And one of the ways we do that is we are here together every Sunday morning. I need you to show up on Sunday morning You will not go to hell if you don't come to church. Right? That's not our way. What I need you here for is because I need you to be here. That in community we find that faith, that strength, that courage together by actually being together. I needed you to go march this weekend. I needed the community you give me. The reminder you give me of what my values are and how important it is to act on them. One of the promises we make to each other when we're in a congregation is just show up. Not for you, because some bad's going to happen to you if you don't, but because I need you to be here. Right? And we're Unitarian Universalists, you know. One Sunday every now and then, we all get it. That's not our game. But in general, we need you to be here on a regular basis for the rest of us. You are that important. I can't be brave without you. The world, as they say, is just run by the people who show up. There are people who think they're running the world right now because they're in positions of power. But what I saw yesterday, where I was in D.C., where I've never, in all my marching, ever seen that many people in one place. We are the people who are showing up together. We, my holy ones, are mighty, and we forget that staying in ourselves. Show up to yourself. Show up to church. Show up to the community. Show up to the world. All it takes is the faith of we.